or some preliminaries. Oh, we can do that. There we go. Let me get over here so I can see. That's us. And that should be me. There we go. Okay. I still have. Looks like I am. Hoping everything is doing well for you. We have a little bit of a treat today. Actual instruction, training. If you're here, let me know in the chat room. Today, you're right, it sure is. Today is Q. Oh no, you can't see it. Might not be able to. Hold on. You know what? I think it's the glare. Give me 1 second, y'all. That might not be better. Let me go back to where it was. I get it. All these things probably should have been done before starting. A little bit better. All right. Well, today's cue. Let's see. We've got Q, R, S, T, L, E, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Excellent. Today's letter is Q. And no, we're not talking about the omnipresent, omnipotent Star Trek weird guy. All right, so we'll go ahead and label it then. If you can see that, come to think of it, I don't even know if it's reversed where you can see it. It does not look so. How can I do that? Can I do that on the fly? Maybe not. Okay. Well, cool. I will. Let me get this old shirt. Let's see if I can do this in reverse. How's this working? It's working. Holy crap. All right. Cool. So, quick shelter. That's an easy one. And the next one's going to be very much related to this one. So, a base, we've actually gotten to a point in our society where when I was a kid and a lot of the people that taught me were younger, the big thing was wilderness survival, which is a good idea. It's a good thing. It should be big now, um, as an important type of thing. I don't know another way to put that, but it's one of those that it's one of those things that the learning of it has importance. And while you're learning it, it enhances your life. It's one of those really cool things where you get a double benefit, and you initially don't even know. Like you find out you get the double benefit after the fact. You know you get the training, and all of a sudden it's better, and your life is better because of it. Anyway, much like bushcraft and woodsmanship and things like that. We're now at a place where bushcraft and woodsmanship are coming back into flavor. That being said, the previous, like you could see it as an ebb and flow of wilderness survival, bushcraft, wilderness survival, bushcraft, wilderness survival, bushcraft, down a timeline. But not always. Let me rephrase that. I'm sorry. Look at it from a different point of view. Look at it from a progressive type point of view. We knew, like caveman days, we learned wilderness survival. That's how we survived. Then we learned better ways to survive. Like we've got more energy now because we're not using all of our energy. We're not exhausted by the end of the day just trying to get our food on our belly. And so we've learned better ways of doing that. We learned that our first shelter is our clothing, right? And so the first thing that protects us from our environment are the things that we wear. We bring our shelter with us. And then we learn, and this is after leaving the cave. How can you remain protected with the materials that you've got? Can you make something that keeps you protected while you're not in a cave? And then you learn, okay, I need to hunt further distances, and so I need some kind of thing that protects me temporarily. So that's wilderness survival. That's the beginning of wilderness survival. And then they got to bushcraft, and they made more than shelters. They made homes. They made towns. They made villages. All these things. They grew from that. Now, this is the progression. You have to start with wilderness survival, and then the next thing you do. We've got a lot of people out there that know wilderness survival. There's a ton of a ton of instructors out there that teach good, viable wilderness survival skills. Now what? Well, now we go into the wilderness for fun, to hone our skills, to get better at the things that we know and we like and we enjoy, and we know that benefits us and that we like and we enjoy it. That being said, bushcraft is the next level, and then woodsmanship is the next level above that. So connecting it to bushcraft, if you don't have a way to make a quick shelter, then you're you can know all the bushcraft in the world, and if the storm comes in faster than you expected it to, you're peace out, Cub Scout. You're done, cooked. You know, whatever the words are these days. So learning wilderness survival is important as a prerequisite to learning bushcraft and woodsmanship. That being said, wilderness survival is a quick shelter. There are few terrains on this planet that we would go into. Now, this is bushcraft in the southeastern United States. This is, I say this on purpose. If you go to a place like Boss, Boulder Outdoor Survival School over in Boulder, Colorado, it's more desert-like. The skills that you would learn are more desert-like over there. Why would I go there? There's a reason. If I had a job that was traveling and caused me to travel over a desert area or an arid tundra area, there's a reason. That's enough right there. But you don't start learning that stuff. You learn that stuff after you learn the wilderness survival in the places that you would normally go. So we're going to focus on the southeastern United States. And oddly enough, the only thing that changes going north is temperature understanding, weather and climate. The forest and then up until where it starts changing into the boreal forest over in Canada and a little south of Canada, because our borders are political, not natural. That being said, I'm also just coming off of a little C19, so hopefully I can get through this whole day. I was a lot worse last time over in P. The pickle juice actually helped. Because pickle juice, like if you drink milk, it helps with mucus generation. If you drink things like pickle juice, more acidic, less basic, less alkaline, then it inhibits mucus growth, mucus formation. Quick shelters. So in the area that we're in, without being redundant, in our area we have lots of trees. We have relative stable ground, not very many. If you go over to Alabama or you go north towards Tennessee, or the North Georgia, then you've got places where the ground is not pretty much flat. Go south, of course, it stays flat. I had a cousin who traveled with my mom from Clearwater, Florida, north to us, and there's this one period where it's the road, and the road drops down and then comes back up, and it's a good 3 miles of distance to make that drop and come back up, and it's a deep drop. And she screamed bloody murder. My mom was asleep in the back seat, and she woke up with my cousin who was driving pulled off the car on the side of the road because she couldn't drive. My mom had to drive down that part because it's such a rare occurrence down in Florida. So be mindful of the things that you can and cannot do based upon your emotional content. What are you used to being able to do? What do you need to be able to do that you may have an emotional blockage keeping you from being able to do it, and it may be something that you need to be like, stay useful. So we've got trees, we've got level ground pretty much. And so a shelter that I teach oftentimes is one that is easily configurable to multiple different variations, requires very little gear. Technically, two pieces of gear are the only things needed for this quick shelter. So I keep we'll start with that. All right, so a single. Oh, I got to write backwards. Keep forgetting about that. Ooh, let's see if I can do this right. A single 10 by 10 tarp. Oop. I said that a single 10 by 10 tarp and either and a, let's say, 30 foot rope, so 1, 2, and then as a addendum, your belt knife. Whew, my handwriting is atrocious. I'm trying to do it backwards. So you need this. Just assume that you've got this. You don't always have to have this, but it's a good thing to have. But the 30-foot rope and the 10 by 10 tarp are the only two things that you really truly need for a quick shelter. I'll show you two different configurations. We'll start with the easiest one, the hammock. So if you get one of the ends, so 10 by 10 is a square, and if you fold back and forth in accordion style, from one end to the other, this, back and forth, back and forth. Let me, that's what I've been, here, I've got my towel. Ooh, went out to the pool earlier. So, if you do this, right? If you do that, fold it over, you've got the end of your hammock. And now, of course, here we go. Got some jute rope right here. Let me see if I can put some of it right there. All right, so I've got it tied to my thing here. What you do is you make this, cross it over, fold it over, come back around over the folded part, all the way around on both sides. Pull a bite. You know what a bite is. Make it easier to see. Here we go. This is called the sack knot, because if this was the end of a sack, then that ties it together. This is the thing. This is the thing that you saw years ago when these cartoons of these young kids trying to, was it Dennis the Menace? I'm leaving. And he gets this thing on the end of a stick, puts that over his back. That's what he's using. That's the knot he's using. And it's an easy release. So do that on both sides. You've got a hammock. Now, variation of this hammock is you're going up here, you're doing this, and then the last little bit, you don't keep going back and forth. In fact, instead, you go around. What that does is create a pea pod configuration that actually puts a cover over top of you without, and making it rainproof without you having a secondary tarp over that. So that's your hammock configuration. Using that same deal. Let's see if we have any messages. We might. Let's see, make sure if there's anyone that needs to get in touch with me, they can do that. Looks like we're about ready for this sucker. Oh, give me a second. Forgot to get my drink cup out of the wash. All right, folks. Here we go. Oh, that's good. Always take time to pause for the cause, people. It's worth it. All right, so that's our first configuration, is hammock. Our second one is tent. So if you don't want to sleep in a hammock, if it's too cold because of the air passing underneath you, might be a little bit too cold for you to sleep in, then touch the ground. So what you do is you lay your tarp out, and you do three things. Okay, you get your belt knife, and you find acorns, small rocks, something like that, this big. You cut your rope 2 feet in, so you've got 28 feet now. All right. You unstrand your rope so that you've got a couple of strands of, extra stuff. So if it's this rope, then you've got 4. This one's a 4-strand rope. So you've got 4 in this one, and you really only need 3. No, you need 4. Okay. But I would probably cut that at 3 feet, not not two. Here's why. You'll see the measurements a little different. So what you do is you stake out this part right there. You go up halfway one direction. Yep. You go halfway one direction and stake that out. Right? Then you come down here and you stake out the other side. You come up halfway on the back end, right, at that half mark, and bring it to that stake mark, stake out. This center part right here, you're going to get a stick, probably, what is that, 4 feet, excuse me, 2.5 feet, excuse me, 5 feet, 2.5 feet long. You're going to put it at your stake out here. You're going to attach it to the other corner. So what will eventually happen is that right there. Okay? So this will be up here, hardened off here. I'm sorry, here. This will be up there. This one going straight to there. Right? This one, this corner will be at the floor. It's difficult, like, configuration to think about, but that's kind of where that is. So this will be at the floor. That'll be at the top, right above there, at that with that 2-foot stick coming up, that tent pole that you made. At the top of the tent pole, you stake it out today. 45-degree angles. Internet connection is unstable. Okay. All right then. So anyway, then you do that. What you have is a tent. It's like a if you've seen plow point tent configurations or tarp configurations with your there we are. If you've seen plow point configurations with your looking at tarp configurations for shelter construction, then you know what a plow point is. This is a freestanding plow point. You basically create a floor. You've got a floor and you've got a tent pole. So you'll always have a tent pole. You'll always have, in this area, if you don't have a tent pole, just pray. But anyway, there's your tent configuration. So, and what you would do is after making this, you build your debris hut over it. From making this, you put up a ridge pole over top the little dotted ridge here. That's a ridge. Actually, it would be this way. Anyway, put up a ridge pole where you know it to be. Put the ribs up where you know them to be. Put the debris on where you know they'll need to be. And then you have to work less. Because once you have this up, same with the hammock. Once you have this up, you've got a quick shelter. It's there. And then what you do is you fortify that shelter with the debris. I'm a hammock camper, so what I would do is I would use the hammock configuration, and then I would put debris up as a wall to keep the wind from blowing under me. And I would use the peapod configuration to keep the rain out. And in fact, you can you can, if you don't go all the way, if you just like go a little bit of the ways, right? You can actually use this as an overhang tarp part. So get an acorn, put it up here in the center, and then tie it off with that little bundle right there. Then you've got a tarp configured built into your tarp configuration built into your good God, why hammock. So especially once you get in, it'll lower down a little bit because of your weight, and then you can put a ridge line and everything like that. Anyway, 2 forms of quick shelter readily available by bringing at least 2 pieces of gear in with you. And I always have that. I will always have that. I've always got about 30 feet of paracord and or micro cord, and I've got a tarp of some configuration. It doesn't have to be a 10 by 10 by 10 is a very generous size. True peapod configuration can probably be done with a 5 by 5 or a 5 by 3 even. That just makes it really, really small. You really bundle up into a peapod. But if it's a survival shelter, then that's what you do. You try to survive through it, whatever's going on. Anyway, I hope this helped. I hope that, let's see, what's the word? I hope that you're having good times out there in the woods. And I hope to see you soon. Get lost.